everyone. We are live now, and this is my great pleasure and privilege to open the first live session of one of the largest Education USA fairs in Europe and Eurasia region. We welcome all of the students around the region to participate throughout the day. And while you choose the webinars that are interesting to you, and thank you for joining this one, we also very much hope that you will visit as many universities as possible during the day in their booth, talk to the US college representatives, and spend this day productively to enhance your chances and opportunities to study in the US. Without further ado, I'm really very honored to present the topic of today, which is a global education in the US. Advance and get prepared for your global careers with US institutions. And our two distinguished panelists today are excellent examples of the global education. Representatives of the NYU Abu Dhabi, Daria Anisimova, and Minerva University, we have Representative Alona Savitskaya. Thank you very much for joining us and for dedicating your time to unleash this absolutely great topic about global education. What makes people to develop global values, skills, and attitudes to thrive in this interconnected world. Please, I'll give you, time to present yourself, and then we will ask students to post the questions, and we'll go to the question and answer part of our session. Please, Daria, can you please start?
Sure. First of all, thank you very much for inviting us, and we are very excited to be a part of this amazing event. And hello, everyone, for joining us. I see that there are so many students coming from so many wonderful countries. So once again, my name is Daria, and I'm regional representative of NYU Abu Dhabi in Russia and Central Asia. And I'm very excited to be a part of this particular discussion because we are definitely a great representation of a very global university. So our first campus was open, of course, in New York, and now it is one of the most and the biggest private US universities. But alongside with that, we also have two degree granting campuses. One that I'm representing, it is located in Abu Dhabi, and it was opened in 2010. So we have celebrated our 10th anniversary. And then the third campus was opened in 2013 in financial district of Pudong, which is located in Shanghai. So you have three degree granting campuses located in three major cities, biggest cities of the world. But no matter whether you become an NYU Abu Dhabi student, NYU New York student, or NYU Shanghai student, you are becoming an NYU student, and you are getting the access to our entire system and all of the resources that we allow you to use. And alongside with that, I wanted to give you just a quick overview of our kind of a global footprint. So alongside with those three major degree granting campuses, we also have 12 academic centers located in 6 different continents. So you will have London, Buenos Aires, Accra, Paris, Buenos Aires, Los Angeles, Sydney, and even more. So these are locations that our students can go to spend up to 2 semesters abroad. And you can just imagine that if you're interested in economics, you can go to the center of the economic business and go to London. If you are interested in film studies, in media studies, we have our newly open academic center located in the heart of Hollywood in Los Angeles. And if you're, for example, interested in engineering, you can tap into and spend up to 2 semesters in our Brooklyn School of Engineering in New York. And this is just to give you a quick overview of our global university. I'm not going to take a lot of time from my colleague, and I will be more than happy to answer your questions about the global education and all of the opportunities that we provide. So thank you.
Thank you, Daria. Alona, can you please share your insights about the university and the global education?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. So my name is Alona. I'm a regional manager for Eastern Europe and Central Asia for Minerva University. Talking about us, we first of all, we're not just an innovative program; we're a new university as well, and I think that's important to understand because when creating the university, we critically took a look at every single component of the student experience in terms of where they learn, where they live, what they learn, how they learn, and things like that. Our students, throughout the 4 years of their studies, and we're talking about the undergraduate degree right now, they live in 7 different cities. They start in San Francisco and they spend their first semester there. In the second semester, they go to Taipei. In the second year, meaning the third semester, they go to Seoul, then Hyderabad. Then they go to Berlin, Buenos Aires, and then they finish off in London, and the last semester is in San Francisco. So that's a fixed program for everyone. Clearly, depending on the pandemic, they would be sort of like changing the locations depending on the availability of the campuses and things like that. But this is the program for all of our students. In terms of the studies themselves, we at Minerva do not believe in a lot of things. We do not believe in lectures. We do not believe in tests. So what we have instead is a flipped classroom format. Our students first read the material or watch a documentary. Then they go into the city and do something in the city as a homework or do just a homework at their home, and then only after that they would be able to come into the class and learn to work with that material at a much deeper level. So instead of lecturing them on and making them sort of like memorize theory, we're focused on them developing skills and gaining the relevant tools and capacities to actually face the problems of the 21st century. In terms of the admissions and financial aid, I'm sure we'll be able to talk about that deeper. We do offer need-based financial aid, and everyone is eligible to apply. About 80% of our students are international students, so we do not have the differentiation between, the U.S. domestic students and international students in that sense. And talking about the admissions requirements, we do not believe in testing, as I said earlier. So we will not care about your TOEFLs, your SATs, ACTs, IELTS, or anything of the sorts. You will just need to go and complete the application.
Thank you very much for this brief overview. I'm sure that we will talk about, lot more aspects of your universities as the first questions are coming. Maybe we could just start with that. What is the acceptance rate for both universities? We have a question from Diana Babik, and maybe you could also briefly mention about the criteria of selection of the students. What it is for you to take, a student who is globally aware, like what is some of the criteria for you to determine that the student is like, responding to that, major mission of the university, right?
I can start, and I can say that for NYU Abu Dhabi, we have an acceptance rate is 4%. So we are a very competitive university, but at the same time, we have a very holistic approach in terms of when we're reading your applications. So we don't usually look only at your test scores. We look at everything in your application. We really want to see what kind of a community member you're going to be in our community, because we are a small liberal arts institution with a very small family a close-knit community, and we want to know what kind of a community member you're going to be. So that is why your essays are very important, your recommendation letters are very important. But if we're talking about the profile of NYU Abu Dhabi students, what we really look into is your academic excellence, your intellectual curiosity, your real broad interests. We want to know that how much you are advantageous and entrepreneurial, and of course, as I have already mentioned, your community engagement, and of course your global mindset, because we are a global university and we want to be sure that you will feel comfortable in a global atmosphere, because we also have 85% of our students are international students who are coming from more than 115 countries. So you can imagine being in a classroom of 20 students, and every student is going to be from so many different parts of the world. So we really want our students to feel comfortable in this unique atmosphere.
Wonderful. This is really like a game changer to be studying in a class of, so many nationalities around the world. It's awesome. Alona, can you please share also the criterion factors from your university?
Absolutely. I love and I hate this question. I love this question because it makes me feel really proud to be a part of a university like Minerva. I hate this question because students get very self-conscious after they hear the answer. So don't be discouraged. So our acceptance rate is 1%. But again, that shouldn't scare anyone because if you're a fit, you're a fit. It's very simple. What we have as a process is basically because we don't have any quotas or any enrollment caps, we're not competing the applicants against each other, right? There's a specific bar, there's a specific level to which you have adhere to. So if you're at that level, you would get in. If you're a fit, you would get in. We're not comparing students. We're not going to be like, okay, we have 5 students from Georgia. We're not going to take any more. That's not how it works. In terms of the admissions requirements themselves, we have a very similar approach to what Daria just explained. Our approach is also holistic. We also want to take a look at every single component of your application. No one component will be more important than another. Your GPA will not matter more than your accomplishments, for example. We do not believe in standardized testing, as I mentioned earlier, so there's no requirements for that. There's not even a space where you can put all of that information in. And in terms of the things that we're looking for in a student, I know these are very vague, but it is true. We're looking for students who are intellectually curious. You have to be excited about coming to Seoul, opening up a Google map, and discovering all of the coffee shops in your neighborhood. You have to be excited about going to Hyderabad and going to this historical place and doing a homework, analyzing what that building means to the culture and the society and trying to understand all of those things. You have to be excited about making a change in the world and actually solving problems. And I think there's nothing wrong with going into a university and wanting to get a degree in, I don't know, theoretical physics, for example. But that's not something that we would be able to offer to students. So they have to be excited about actually identifying the problems that they want to solve and understanding the systems behind those problems. How we evaluate that, I do not have an answer for you, but I can tell you for sure that the system is effective enough for us to be able to select those students.
Wonderful. I'm sure that all of the students that are here today for this session get equally excited, as the students who are already enrolled in your universities. Now, I would like to combine some of the questions for, just to be productive time-wise, and let's get through some, essential kind of the questions. Do you have an application fee for your universities? Is there any fee waiver available? Which opportunities for funding does your university offer? And what are some testing requirements to apply for your universities? For Minerva, there is one specific also. What does Minerva's own test look like? So if you can go through this, set of 3 questions, I think this will satisfy, number of the listeners today. I don't know, Alona, if you can go on, and then we'll go back to Daria.
Absolutely. So let's start with the last one. So talking about the Minerva specific application, the application is just available on the website. You go into the website, you start the application there. It's completely free. There's no fee. Clearly, there's no fee waiver for that as well. Talking about the application itself, there's 3 parts to it. The first one is basically who you are. So your academic history, your school counselor information, the rating of your school, your own rating in the graduating class, and things like that. The second part is the challenges. Just because we do not care about the standardized test does not mean that we won't test you in a way. But our test is a bit different from what you would find in standardized testing. It is impossible to prepare for it. You just have to go and do it. We specifically want to see your thinking abilities without preparation. We want to see how you think, and we pay attention to different things. The third part talks about the accomplishments. So that can be anything that you're proud of. It can be your Olympiads, it can be your sports, it can be your arts, your volunteering. Maybe there's a job that you're doing to support your family. Anything that you're proud of will count as an accomplishment. And those are the 3 parts that put together the application. And we take a look at that, and then we determine who gets in.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
And talking about the NYU Abu Dhabi, there was so many questions that I hope that I will be able to answer them. But if I miss something, I will be happy to just comment on that later. So for NYU Abu Dhabi, we accept all the applications go through the Common Application, which is an online platform used by more than 900 American and like global universities. So you are registering in the Common Application, and if you're applying to several universities using the same platform, you usually need to submit only one application that goes to multiple universities. Of course, we have a very specific NYU questions, like, for example, to apply to NYU Abu Dhabi, you need to write 2 essays, which is a Common Application essay, your personal essay, and then the essay why NYU specifically, because we really want to know your motivation, why you would like to become an NYU Abu Dhabi student. And there is a fee for the Common Application, but our university provides a fee waiver, so you can just request for a fee waiver, and we are happy to provide that. And in terms of what you would need to provide, as I have already quickly mentioned, that we expect you to provide your test scores, your letters of recommendation, include your transcripts, and write 2 essays. And in the Common Application, you will have up to 10 extra to provide up to 10 extra curriculum activities, which are also important for us. And I also wanted to quickly mention that due to the COVID restrictions and just because of the COVID, this year has been announced a test optional, so you can apply without any test scores, like I mean without SAT or IB exams or A levels. And we are also very flexible in terms of what kind of exams we do accept. So for NYU Abu Dhabi, we accept some national exams. And I think that in a chat, I will be able to provide the link where you can read about the national exams and what kind of national exams and from what countries national exams are accepted. So I hope that I have managed to quickly answer those questions.
I think so. There's a lot of information for students to digest. Also, I would continue with you, Daria. There is a question about, do you have programs for students for learning languages? And maybe just, a few words in the context of how important it is to learn languages in the global education environment.
Absolutely. So that is a really great question. And before answering that, I again wanted to say that we are a very international, and specifically if we're talking about NYU Abu Dhabi, we are specifically a very international campus, because NYU, in general, Abu Dhabi is a very diverse city. So 89% and 89% of population of Abu Dhabi is international one, and the same as mirrored happened in our campus. So many students are speaking their own mother languages. So and at NYU Abu Dhabi, we provide different languages like Arabic, French, German, Mandarin language. So, and students are free to choose any languages that they want to learn. And of course, like some of our students who learn French, and then they can go and even choose a study away opportunity in France, and they can live in a French family to study in France, in Paris, and that is how they continue evolving their love, for example, for French language. So, or they can go to Shanghai and continue learning Mandarin language. One of the frequently asked questions: do I need to know Arabic to apply to NYU Abu Dhabi? No, we don't expect you to speak Arabic, and we don't expect you to choose learning Arabic when you accept it to NYU Abu Dhabi. If you want, of course, we provide. And just very quickly finishing up answering that question, again, we also have a student interest group where students, because not all of the languages can be provided by the university, but you have this unique experience of learning language from your peers. So we have a student body, a student interest group. So you can enter that student interest group and start learning, any language that your peers can be speaking, or you can teach your own language to other peers.
Wonderful. And since our audience today is such an international,
Yeah,
coming from all of the countries. I'm sure that all of you students are, bilingual, trilingual, and that is definitely a plus when applying to, global universities like our panelists represent today.
absolutely.
So, Alona, can we briefly, elaborate more on what kind of scholarships are available? Do students need to go through the CSS profile in both cases? Daria, will come back to
Mhm.
you. And also, to combine some of the questions. Are scholarships uh, any different based on majors? And there are some questions specifically about computer science program and financing computer science majors. And then we'll move to questions that concern graduate studies.
Absolutely. So, talking about financial aid in general, to the audience, there's two types of financial aid. There's need-based financial aid and there's merit-based financial aid. Need-based financial aid focuses on your family budget, on your actual finances, and based on what you actually need. The university will review your application and will provide a package that will respond to your needs. Merit-based financial aid is a different type of financial aid that takes a look at your accomplishments, your test results, your Olympiads, and things like that, your grades, GPA. Different universities have different requirements. Talking about Minerva specifically, we only offer need-based financial aid. So when we look at your family situation, that is the only thing we will take into consideration when we determine the package of that we'll be able to give you. A lot of students are asking, will I be able to get a full ride, or how much financial aid I would be able to get? I cannot tell you what your specific financial aid package will look like until you apply for that financial aid. There is very little anyone can tell you. First, the office needs to review your documents. They need to review, all of those things. So, talking about need-based financial aid, what we have is a package that has three different components to it. There is the student loan. There is the work study option where you work for the university and you receive salary for that, and that salary usually goes towards your food, your personal expenses, your local transportation, and things like that. And the third part is the scholarship. So when students ask about the scholarship, that is a part of a bigger package that has several components to it. Depending on your needs, you will either have one component, two components, or all three components.
Mhm.
I work with Eastern Europe and Central Asia. The majority of our students require the maximum amount of financial aid. So, most probably, if you apply to Minerva and you receive financial aid from Minerva, it will usually be those three components. And again, it will only be determined based on your financial situation. In terms of the requirements, there is the application form that we have at Minerva. So there are the questionnaires that you need to fill out. There are documents that you need to provide. In addition to that, you will also need to provide a CSS profile. For CSS profile, you will need to pay because it's not our system. It's a separate individual system, and you will need to make that payment. But if your annual income is less than $10,000 per year for your family, you would be able to apply for the fee waiver for the CSS profile. To do that, you need to have completed everything else that is on the Minerva's application, and only have and submit everything except for that one CSS profile. So after you have done that, you can request the CSS profile fee waiver. And if your annual income is confirmed to be less than $10,000 per year, then you will automatically receive, well, not automatically, we'll still review all of this, but then you will receive the fee waiver. I hope that's clear.
Yes, and the short one, the last one, like, do scholarships differ by the major students choose? Like, to apply for computer science would make a difference versus to applying to economics or political science in terms of access to scholarships.
Right. Thank you for the reminder. No, there is no difference. And also, if you apply to Minerva, you apply directly to Minerva. You're not applying to a specific major. You're applying to the university, and the financial aid, the admissions, all of the processes are absolutely identical.
Wonderful, Daria. Now it's your turn to tell us, about the NYU Abu Dhabi functionalities in terms of the scholarships, CSS profile, difference by majors, by schools, maybe.
I would say, first of all, that it is mostly similar to what Alona has just explained, is that for NYU Abu Dhabi, we mostly provide need-based scholarship, and one of the frequently asked questions as well. So, like, for example, the university would see that I can't pay for my studies and they won't really choose me. So, no, it's not working like that. So it is a blind process. So at the time we're reading your applications, at the time of our admission officers looking through your application, we don't know your financial status. We don't know your financial situation. So only after our admission officers decides that we really want you to be a student of NYU Abu Dhabi, only after that the financial department is start looking at your CSS profile, and they decide what amount, what size of the financial package you would need in order to say yes to us. So we do understand that, of course, financial support is really important for so many students. So at NYU Abu Dhabi, we try to provide as much support as we can. And of course, as Alona has mentioned, I can't say what size of the financial package every student receives, because every situation, every family situation is so much different from family to family. So you would need to apply with the CSS profile as well. Please really keep in mind all of the deadlines for the CSS profile, because if you miss the deadline, then you won't be qualified for the financial support. So you will be applying through the CSS profile. We're going to read that. Our financial department is going to read that application, and they decide what the financial support you might receive. But comparing and talking about 3 of our degree granting campuses, like NYU New York, Shanghai, and Abu Dhabi, at NYU Abu Dhabi, we have the most generous financial support, and students at NYU Abu Dhabi might receive a full financial support, like 100% financial support, where it will be included your studies, your travel expenses, food expenses, so everything will be covered. But again, I can't say the percentage of how many students receive the full coverage and how to get that, because it's not about like a merit-based, so you need to have the best scores. It's not like that. The need-based scholarship is also like only the decision is made only on the basis of your financial status of your family. And talking about the differences in majors, so it doesn't matter what major you choose, because as, for example, as for Minerva, you're applying to NYU Abu Dhabi specifically. You're not applying to any kind of college or school or major. You're applying to NYU Abu Dhabi specifically.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Well, maybe we could just very briefly touch upon graduate studies, because there are a cluster of questions about, do you offer graduate studies? What kind of graduate studies? Postgraduate studies? Maybe, if you do, just give us some names of the specific programs that you offer as a part of the graduate studies program, and then we'll, come back to some of the other questions by undergrad students. Yes, any of you.
I can start very quickly, because at NYU Abu Dhabi, we mostly provide bachelor's degree. So we have more than 25 majors offering in bachelor's degree. We do have graduate studies, but they are not. There are not that many of master studies that we offer. There are only 2. It's Master of Fine Arts in Art and Media and Master of Science in Economics. We are going to have more master's degree in our campus, but currently we have only these 2 programs that we might offer. But of course, you can go, like we do provide more graduate studies in our New York campus. And if you're interested in graduate studies, then probably I would recommend to go to and check it on our New York campus.
Good job. I mean, there's a good news for somebody who was asking specifically about journalism and media studies.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Alona, how about you? What about Minerva?
So for us, Very similar, actually. We only offer one master's degree program that's not focused specifically on one field. It's a Master of Science in Decision Analysis, and it equips you with tools that are relevant in order to make sure that you're making strategic decisions. Basically, it's like a combination between an MBA, which sort of like focuses on developing your leadership skills, and a master of science, a master of science in big data and data analysis. Right. So that one talks more about the research, the statistical analysis, and basically making decisions. So that degree is very much for the students who are really looking to grow in their career and broaden their horizons. Again, it's not focused on you learning a lot of theory in this one field. It's more focused on you developing skills in order to be able to make sure that you can make decisions in the 21st century with all of the big data available. That's a part-time program. So that's for the students who do not want to quit their jobs, who do not want to leave their countries, who want to stay with their families and things like that. And it's a very specific program in terms of in terms of the format, because it's an online program. We do not sponsor visas for them. Students stay in their countries. They usually keep on working, and that's how the programs run.
Wonderful. So now we've got these answers to the students that were asking for specific, the fields. And this is your time to go back and check the university websites if you're looking for specific, graduate degrees, and be sure that you look for the information that you're, interested in, because the graduate studies in these universities are quite limited by the major. All right. So the next question, probably, maybe we could talk a little bit about the transfers. There is a question from one of the students. I'm at the moment student of the University Shakarim, second course, but I want to study in the Paris. So how can I get it? What documents I need? Maybe they need a campus in Paris, but let's, more broadly touch upon, like, can you transfer to your universities, either from national universities or other US universities?
I can start. So for NYU Abu Dhabi, we do accept, we don't have transfer students. So if you are applying from your university, you will have to start from the very first day, first year of studies at NYU Abu Dhabi. I just wanted to clarify that you can't study, if we're talking about NYU Abu Dhabi, you can't study directly in Paris, because we all the academic sites that we have, they are just for 1 semester. For example, we have only 3 degree granting campuses. It's in New York, Abu Dhabi, and Shanghai. So these, one of those campuses are going to be your home campus for 4 years. But then you will have an opportunity to spend a semester or 2 semesters in one of our academic sites, and it could be Paris, for example. It's again up to our students to decide what major or what subject they would like to study, and what modules they would like to study as the study away opportunity. I think, yeah.
Thank you for that,
Same for
Alana.
us. Same for us. I mean, we do have a lot of students applying from their first, second, even third year of their studies at a current university, but they will need to start over, because just like NYU Abu Dhabi, we're very different in terms of curriculum. There are very specific cases, very rare, where you would be able to transfer up to 8 credits, but that doesn't usually go for students who have done 1 or 2 university studies. If they're advanced, and if they're doing their third or even fourth year at a university, and they have gone through a specific course that technically could be transferable, those are the cases we're ready to talk about. But that is so case sensitive. I don't usually make those loud announcements right at the beginning. It's very, very case specific. The general rule of thumb is usually if you're a transfer student, if you consider yourself a transfer student, if you're studying at a university and you're applying to Minerva, you will need to start over and you need to be ready for that. The good news is that in the majority of institutions, even if we're talking about the US, if you're a transfer student and you're applying as a transfer student, you usually don't get access to financial aid. So the logic behind this is, first of all, curriculum, but second of all, to ensure that you have access to financial aid and that you can actually sustain your studies.
So let's just, call it the term like, freshman. You need to be the freshman,
Yes.
right? It's your
Yes.
first university after the school. And if you had done some studies, have accomplished some credits in your national university, you will be no longer regarded as a freshman, although you can restart, but that would reflect on the type of the scholarships you receive, just to be clear, correct?
Yes, but if you start over, then I was talking about the other universities, right? So the other
Correct.
US institutions, there's a lot of them who actually have the transfer programs. If we're talking specifically about Minerva, and from what I understood in NYU Abu Dhabi as well, you will have to start from the beginning and you will have access to financial aid. You will be able to apply. It's absolutely fine. So that's actually good news. The fact
Wonderful
that you
news.
need to start
Absolutely.
actually.
Yeah.
Wonderful news.
The same for us. Yes. Thank you, Elena.
So before we go to the next questions, I want to remind everyone, there are some specific questions regarding your major and requirements. Please be sure to visit during the, whole day booths by Minerva and NYU Abu Dhabi, where you can directly talk to Alona and Daria and ask any specific questions that you have with regard to your own candidacy and the background that you have. Today, we're trying to cover more general aspects of, the global education, and therefore I'm trying to combine the questions that are more like, general also to the audience. Some of such, questions are coming, which are like, how do you perceive AP classes, or maybe IB in the terms also? Do you prefer TOEFL over IELTS or Duolingo? And maybe also combined, does test optional means test optional, how that impacted like how COVID-19 globally impacted also the policies in terms of like admissions and criteria.
I could say that talking about NYU Abu Dhabi, even before the COVID, we have been very flexible in terms of reading the applications, and we accept, as I have already mentioned, we accept a lot of exams. It could be SAT, it could be SAT, it could be IB level, AP classes. So we even accept national exams from some countries, and you will just really need to go to our website to enter requirements to find out whether the national exam from your country is accepted by our university. Due to the COVID, as I've mentioned, this year we have announced test optional. So to apply to university this year, we don't expect that you would provide us your standardized test, and don't worry, your application won't be disadvantaged because of that, because as I've said, we have a very holistic approach in reading your applications, and if you don't provide your standardized test, we still will be able to understand what kind of student you are, what kind of personality you are, and how a good fit you're going to be to our campus. In terms of the English requirements, these, unfortunately or fortunately, you still need to provide us, because you are going to be studying in English, and we do really need to understand how good you are in English, how that you would be able to communicate, to write your essays, etc., etc. So you do need to provide your English exams, and we accept again a range of exams. It could be TOEFL, it could be IELTS, it could be Cambridge exams, and Duolingo as well, if we're talking about NYU.
Wonderful. Alena, maybe, yes?
So for us, talking about APIB specifically, we're very interested in seeing that you have been a part of those systems. At the same time, that is definitely not a requirement, and that's definitely not something that will put your application forward and make your application stronger than someone who hasn't got a chance to actually be a part of those systems. What we more care about is the rating of your school, so how competitive your high school is, how competitive you are in your graduating class. So it's things like that that we will want to see. And talking about the test, I have mentioned that earlier. So for those who just joined, uh, this is the phrase that I really like to use because it's very clear. We do not care about your tests. We're not test optional. We do not care. There's no field in the application where you would be able to put your test results in. It's just a different approach. It's just a different philosophy, and you will still need to complete the application. It will have challenges, right? And the challenges will be in English. So if your English is not good enough for you to be able to understand the challenges, which are not easy, clearly it will be an indication for us that the academic program will probably be too hard for you. But we don't test English specifically. Talking about tests like ACTs and SATs, the challenges, they are focused on helping us understand how you think, how you make decisions, how you justify those decisions, how you work with the types of information that you're given, how flexible and creative your mind is, and things like that. So those things are being, let's say, tested by the application, but it's all of the things that we have developed ourselves, right? It's all available in this one place, and that's what you need to do.
So I think we're nearing the final in this session, and I still, again, wanted to remind the students, especially the ones who are having questions about graduate studies. One panel right after this live session is exactly about graduate studies in the US. And please, stay on if you are interested, and you will hear specific things about the graduate studies. And therefore, there is a chance for you to learn more. Now, the second is that if you did not get your specific question answered about undergraduate studies, please go visit booths of Minerva University, NYU Abu Dhabi during the day and find out the most, burning questions you may have today directly from them in private communication. And now, finally, I think just to close it up, students are asking also about the essays, how many essays are needed. But I think just to, wrap up this global global education by the US universities, maybe you could just highlight few things that you would really love to see in the essays of the students to make sure that these are really globally oriented students.
And that's a wonderful question. And as I've mentioned at the beginning, and probably those who are just joining haven't heard that for NYU Abu Dhabi, we require 2 essays, which one is the personal essay that in the common application, you're going to choose within 7 different prompts, or let's call them topics. There will be provided 7 different topics that you choose. And this topic is going to be your personal topic, where you want to know. And most of the universities, US universities, that's what they are really interested. They want to know your personalities, what really motivates you, what interests you, what makes you worry, etc., etc. But then there is a specific NYU essay where we want to know why you're applying to NYU University, why you are so motivated to become an NYU student. And this essay could be specifically about, in general, about NYU, or specifically about campus you're applying to. So, for example, if you're applying to NYU Abu Dhabi, we want to know why NYU Abu Dhabi. So we want you to make a research, and any university who is going to have a school-specific essay, they would want to hear the real reasons why you want to become the students of those universities. So just do your research, go to as many events of those universities as you can, and then you will be able to answer those questions.
Thank you very much. Unless you have something, something very quick, Alena, to add, I think this completes our session today. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for being such great panelists and going through all of these questions so thoroughly. We appreciate your presence. Please, again, be sure you visit universities as many as you can today to find out more information. And those specifically who are interested in the graduate studies, look on for the next live panel, specifically targeting the graduate studies in the US. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you very much, Alona, Daria. They have been an absolutely great speakers for today's panel. Thank you.
Thank you